This keyword in JavaScript refers to point to that object that is calling a function. So I have this object, simple object that have two property: name, that will be string my name. Second property is log with uh, this function. So here object is calling that this function. So object, this keyword in JavaScript refers to an object, this object that is calling that function. So inside this function, this value will be this object. Why? Because this inside function is called by this object. So you can say that this value refers to an object that is calling a function. So uh, let's log this. Inside log, as you can see, this value here, it refers to an object that have name property and log property, that will be this function. So what will be output for we do direct console.log this, what will be output in perspective of browser, not node.js, who is calling this console.log function. So here we call this inside function log function with object, this object. So here this value is this object. So here who is calling this console.log? No one is calling this console.log object. So what will be this value here? So in perspective of browser, if we not use strict mode, uh, like for strict mode we can use type module, it would give nothing, that will be undefined. So if I go to browser, and as you can see line number 2, this value is undefined. But if we don't use strict mode, if we remove this type module, then it will replace by window object, global object. So same as like window is calling this console.log, so it will, this function will uh, refers to this value will be this object, because window is calling this console.log object. So let's see on the log, as you can see window will be there, window object. If I don't use window, then also it will automatically give this value, refers to this value to that window object. So this is also uh, this also called as implicitly binding. And we have also three methods for explicitly binding, like call, bind and apply, that we will see in next video. Right now we want to understand what is this, what is this value will be when we use inside function, when we use outside function, when we use in arrow function. Let's understand the basics, then we go to the that implicitly explicitly binding, call, bind and apply. So if we use here arrow function, like that will be something like that. Arrow function, then arrow function can't context to that this value, context to this value. So here it will be same as uh, calling outside here, uh, like function log, and if we log this value, so it will if we do log here, then it will log with window, something like that, window.log. Then this function will refers to window object. So here also uh, this arrow function uh, find this from its lexical scope from normal function. Here above there is no normal function, here there is no function, it's an object. So this will find uh, so this will get this context from its above function object, that will be a window object. So if I do normal function, let me show you this value. So it will show window object here in arrow function. So as you can see, for line number 13, let me remove this normal console.log. So why this not get context of this object? So this arrow function will get context of this from its lexical scope, that will be above function should be normal function, otherwise it's keep getting that this value from global only. If we use this arrow function inside uh, so many nested function, then also it will context to global, it will not get context of this to this object. As you can see, it will not. Here we are calling this log function with this object. Here it's not normal function, that's why this arrow function. So arrow function can't get context, remember this. Normal function is get only normal function get context of this object. If I use function normal function here above, this will be normal function. This will be normal function, and this is arrow function. So right now this is normal function, this will be log here, and if I use arrow function inside with some name const arrow function, then if I call this inside this function, now this arrow function will get this value from its lexical scope after function. This function is referring this object will be this normal function. If we log here this value, so for this function this value is this object. So this arrow function also get a value from this function, this will be always normal function. If we use again here arrow function, it will can't get that. this value will be this object. So if we use here also arrow function, it will again go to that window object. So this is lexical scope. If we use so many nested arrow function also here, and we put that this arrow function on another arrow function, then also above it can't get context in arrow function, it will find last that normal function, and that normal function also pointing window object, then also this will pointing window object. If this, so here this function is pointing this value to this object, so that's why this value will be this object. I hope you get the point. uh, let me run this log again, and let's see what will be this value. Let's go to the browser. Here nothing is showing. What is the problem? We are calling not inside, we have to call this outside. Now it will context to this value to this object. Yes, as you can see. So interior will confuse you with this arrow function, but you have to remember that arrow function always finding a normal function. Where is that native function, and what that native function is, where pointing this value. So I have to follow that. For arrow function is following that for this value. Otherwise all the arrow function, it will again pointing that global object. So you have to remember this. So let's do some exercise that will be better to uh, clear the understanding of this. So going for exercise, uh, let me give you again that how to identify this value inside function. You have to remember how where the function is and who is calling that function on the left side, who is calling the function and where is that function inside arrow or function is arrow function. You have to remember that. So exercise 1 here. Exercise 1, function show console.log this dot name. Okay, variable name, that will be string. Object have property name. So there is no need of this variable, we are not using inside, or this object and name doesn't have any connection with this exercise. So ignore this is not we want. So this code is like we are running without this, so this is for confusion in this exercise. So interviewer can give this kind of uh, that we have variable object something kind of, but ignore this. We have to see here function is who is calling this function, and the function is normal function, not arrow function. So here no one is calling this function, so what will be output? This here also we are uh, getting that this property name, this property name. So first we have to find what is this value will be here, then we can see that yes, there will be name or not, no name property inside this. So we can, so Here on non-strict mode, if we don't use type module, then again this will be same as like window is calling that function. So here this value will be window, and let's see window have this dot name or not. So let me print like this dot name. So we already seen this, it will be global. So window, let's see what will be name inside HIJKL. So here name is global, that why it show global. So this value is refers to and window object, because here it's calling, looks like it's calling itself, but here in non-strict mode window object is calling this function. Otherwise this value will be undefined in type module, type then module. So in strict mode this value will be undefined, and we can't access undefined. Undefined is not object, so we can't get this from undefined, we can't get this name from undefined. So it will give an error, as you can see, can't read property of undefined, that will be name. So let's remove that strict mode again, and let's go to next exercise, exercise 2. So exercise 2 is long. You can see on the screen it's have a object, okay, object that have property name alias. Second property is normal function, this dot name. So here uh, we are uh, storing this user dot greet function. We are storing this user dot greet property function inside this uh, greet function. Again you have to see who is calling this function, who is calling this function. So we are storing this function inside this greet function, and again looks like no one is calling this function, but in non-strict mode window is, so here it will not uh, bind, it will not give this variable to this bind function value, it will give a reference of this function. So here it will be looks like something like this, that uh, grid function will have looks like kind of this outside function greet greet. So this greet function will refers to this. So here you want uh, store inside this function with this object bind value with this function, you will uh, store that reference of this function. So here also this value will be point to, in non-strict mode will be window object, something like that, window object. So window name will be global, we already see, so it should be global, as you can see. So I hope you understand the concept of this. Just have to remember uh, function is normal function, arrow or arrow function. Where is that function? Inside normal function, or inside arrow function, or you have to remember who is calling the function, then you will understand value of this. So let's do exercise 3. Here in exercise 3 I have to call this function. You can see on the screen person object. Okay, it's have property Charlie. Okay, show name key. Inside we have function that will be normal function, and inside normal function we have arrow function. Okay, and we are calling that function inside this normal function, and inside we want this dot name. So what will be this value inside this arrow function? So you have to remember that what I said uh, previously, that arrow function can't uh, context to this value. It will find this from its outer uh, outer lexical scope, that will be normal function. So here outer lexical scope is a normal function, so this normal function have this value will be this person. So arrow function will also get this value from this outer function. So here output will be this dot name. So this will be this object, and this name will be this Charlie. So output is Charlie. Okay, you got the idea. Let's see the output. It should be Charlie. Yes, as you can see. Exercise 4. um, Object student. Okay, property name. Okay, here function that will be normal function. Okay. Oh, set timeout is used here. What will be output? Here also we use normal function. Normal function that will be calling this uh, console.log this dot name. So what will be output for this? Here say my name, that will be this function. Student is calling this say my name function. So inside this function, here console.log this value will be this object, but we are not logging this value inside this normal function. We are logging this value inside this normal function and inside set timeout. Okay, after 1 second. So here this value will be get from this function. So how this function is calling this function inside this callback function set timeout? How this function is calling? So this value is inside consider as how this function is called here. Who is called this function? So here set timeout is calling this normal function. So set timeout it's same as like calling this function outside in global, like outside here outside. So it will refers to again global object, not this object. So set timeout is calling this function callback. Callback mean it will call back after some time. So set timeout is calling after some time, 1 second. So here refers to not set timeout. For this it will refers to an object, global object, window object. So it's look like confusing, but if you do by your own, uh, doing by you doing code by your own, you can understand this logic correctly. So set timeout inside this same as like calling a function outside in the global. So you can now see output that will be global for this function. So let's see, we are calling function here. As you can see, I am right. Next exercise, that will be last exercise. Here you if you don't understand constructor, then this will be hard for you. So but let's understand this. So this is the we use Pascal case for this function, not like small letter. We use Pascal case and we build kind of instance of this function, and here inside this function what will be this and what will be this. So if I remove this all code, and it's look like normal function. Let me again remove this grand function. So it's look like normal function with some capital, first letter is capital car. So if we run a normal function like this, then what will it return? It will return undefined. So if we go to, as you can see, it will run undefined. But if we use this function above any new keyword, here, so this is okay, normal function we are calling, it will return undefined. And again if we remove this same, okay, it's look like same, but we are using just a new keyword before any function calling. So what, okay, so I am storing that function value here. Function value we are logging, that will be undefined. Let me do here in my car1, car2 without new value. In my car1 we are storing this function value that will be written undefined. But here in new car, just we are using new keyword before the function call. What will be output for this second my car? So let's see. So what will be output for my car? Just a normal function. You can easily say that it will undefined. But for my car 2, what will be the output? Let's see. Here I can also do object, so it have already key, so we can identify my car 1 and my car 2. So my car is undefined, okay, but my car 2 is a car object. So just using new keyword we are getting an object. Okay, just using new keyword we are not receiving written undefined, we are receiving an object, that will be this car. Okay, so we can do like this will be object, so we can do this empty object. We are assigning this object to this will be key inside object, and this will be get brand also key inside object, and this is the value that we are providing when we are calling that function. So let me remove this all code, and let me use that exercise code. Let me remove, not comment. So here uh, this dot brand we are not giving any argument here when we are calling the function. Dot get brand, we are getting that function here. Okay, we are uh, my car. Where does my car? I think I remove some code here. Let me see. What was the previous? Yes, we are uh, we have this my car variable, and we are using just a new keyword that will be written and empty object if we don't use this. Then if we use this, then it will create key inside that empty object. So here passing Toyota in brand, and we are storing that brand in empty object, and get brand we are getting from this object that have this get brand function, that will be normal function, and we are calling that get brand function. Okay, so what will be this value for this brand? Oh yeah, this is really confusing. Okay, uh, object inside grid. So this will look like uh, brand. Let me visualize. That will be Toyota, and get brand, that will be this function. Const my object. So this will look like this. Oh, const my object, then get brand, this normal function, not cut. Let me copy paste. Why it's giving error is equal to, now it should fine. Okay, so here it's look like this, and yeah, so yes, this will refers to this Toyota, and my car. So who is calling this again? We are storing this inside brand, so it will refers to and global object, because we are not uh, like binding. This will a reference to that function, this function. So again we will get window object. This brand property is not available on global object, so it will uh, give an undefined on the, as you can see. So this is confusing for me also, but I will get there and find this value. Then, so this is, you have to just understand this, that who is calling this function, and this is not binded with object. Looks like binded with this function with this object, but we are getting actually reference that in this variable. That's why it's calling as like in global, like outside here. That's why it's refers to and window object. So hope you understand the concept of this. So if you have any doubt, you can put on comment section. So thank you.